From the revolutionary Sturmgewehr 44 to experimental last-ditch designs, World War II witnessed the birth of an entirely new weapon category that transformed infantry combat forever. Unlike other weapon categories with dozens of variants, true assault rifles remained extraordinarily rare during the war, with Germany pioneering nearly all significant development. This comprehensive catalog examines every assault rifle that saw combat service, along with the automatic and semi-automatic rifles that represented the evolutionary steps toward this revolutionary concept. We begin with the weapon that defined the category. The Maschinenkarabiner 42 from Henel, designated the MKB-42H, represented Germany's first true assault rifle. Developed by Hugo Schmeisser in response to Eastern Front requirements for increased firepower, it entered limited production in 1942. Chambered in the new 7.92 by 33 mm Kurz intermediate cartridge and featuring select fire capability, approximately 8,000 were manufactured before being superseded by improved designs. The Maschinenkarabiner 42 from Walther, the MKB-42W, competed directly with Henel's design during trials. This prototype featured an annular gas piston surrounding the barrel rather than a conventional gas tube. Only around 200 were produced before the Henel design was selected for further development, though some Walther features influenced later production models. The Maschinenpistole 43, designated MP-43, was the first mass-produced assault rifle in history. Entering service in 1943 despite Hitler's initial opposition to the program, it combined Henel's proven mechanism with manufacturing improvements. Armed with a 30-round curved magazine and capable of both semi-automatic and fully automatic fire, it proved devastatingly effective against Soviet forces on the Eastern Front. The Maschinenpistole 43/1 variant introduced a modified muzzle designed to launch rifle grenades. This capability addressed complaints from frontline troops who needed indirect fire support without carrying separate grenade launchers. The threaded barrel attachment became standard on subsequent production variants. The Maschinenpistole 44, the MP-44, was essentially identical to the MP-43 with minor production refinements. The redesignation occurred in 1944 as German manufacturing rationalized weapon designations. Troops on both Eastern and Western fronts received increasing numbers as production accelerated despite Allied bombing campaigns targeting German factories. The Sturmgewehr 44, the famous Sturmgewehr 44, received its iconic designation after Hitler finally endorsed the program. Legend holds that frontline troops' enthusiasm convinced the Führer to rename it assault rifle, though this story remains debated. Over 425,000 were manufactured by war's end, making it the most produced assault rifle of the conflict and influencing virtually every post-war design. The Sturmgewehr 44 with Krumloff attachment featured a curved barrel extension for firing around corners. Developed primarily for urban combat and armored vehicle crews, variants included 30-degree and 45-degree bends. The barrel's limited lifespan of approximately 300 rounds and accuracy degradation restricted practical use to specialized applications. The Sturmgewehr 44 with ZF-4 telescopic sight served as a designated marksman weapon. The 4-power optic extended effective range beyond the standard iron sights, though the intermediate cartridge limited true sniping capability. These scoped variants saw service primarily on the Eastern Front, where engagement distances often exceeded Western European norms. The Sturmgewehr 45, the Sturmgewehr 45M, represented a revolutionary redesign using roller-delayed blowback operation. Developed by Mauser engineers, this mechanism eliminated the gas system entirely, simplifying manufacturing. Only prototypes were completed before Germany's surrender, but the design directly influenced the post-war Spanish CETME and German G3 rifles. The Gerät 6, meaning Device 6, was an experimental variant testing the roller delay system. Engineers at Mauser developed multiple prototypes exploring manufacturing simplification while maintaining reliability. These experiments proved the concept viable, validating the production decision for the Sturmgewehr 45 program. The Volkssturmgewehr 15, the VG-15, was a simplified assault rifle designed for last-ditch home defense forces. Manufactured by Gustloff Werk using stamped steel construction and minimal machining, it employed a gas-delayed blowback system. Approximately 10,000 were produced in early 1945, though reliability and accuracy suffered significantly from cost-cutting measures. The Grossfuss Sturmgewehr was another simplified design intended for Volkssturm militia units. This weapon used an even more basic construction than the VG-15, with wooden furniture and minimal metal components. Only limited numbers reached Rupes before German surrender, and surviving examples remain extremely rare. Moving to Soviet assault rifle development, we find far fewer examples reaching combat service. The Fedorov Avtomat, designed before World War I, represented an early automatic rifle concept, chambered in 6.5 by 50 mm Japanese Arisaka ammunition, which some historians consider an intermediate cartridge. It saw limited revival during the Winter War against Finland and the early months of Operation Barbarossa. Approximately 3,200 were manufactured, with surviving examples issued to specialized units facing ammunition shortages in 1941 and 1942. The AS-44 prototype represented Soviet attempts to develop a true assault rifle during the war. Designed by Alexei Sudiev, it chambered the new 7.62 by 39 mm intermediate cartridge and featured select fire capability. Testing continued through 1944 and 1945, but the weapon never entered production, with development continuing into the post-war Kalashnikov program. American forces fielded one weapon meeting the technical assault rifle definition. The M2 carbine introduced selective fire capability to the existing M1 carbine platform. Entering service in late 1944, it combined the 30 carbine intermediate cartridge with fully automatic fire from a 30-round magazine. Over 600,000 were manufactured, primarily seeing combat in the final European and Pacific campaigns. Next, we examine automatic rifles that, while not true assault rifles due to their full-power cartridges, represented parallel development toward increased infantry firepower. The Fallskirmjägergewehr 42, the FG-42, was developed specifically for German paratroopers requiring a lightweight automatic weapon. Chambered in the full-power 7.92 by 57 mm Mauser cartridge, it weighed only 4.5 kilograms despite providing both semi-automatic and fully automatic fire. Approximately 7,000 were manufactured across two distinct variants, with the weapon seeing action at Monte Cassino and during Operation Market Garden. The FG-42 Type 1, the early production variant, featured a stamped steel receiver and angled pistol grip. Its side-mounted magazine and complex manufacturing limited production numbers despite excellent combat performance. The unusual left-side feeding mechanism created some ejection issues during sustained automatic fire. The FG-42 Type 2 introduced a machined receiver and redesigned furniture addressing earlier reliability concerns. The vertical pistol grip improved handling during automatic fire, while a revised bipod enhanced accuracy. This variant saw most combat service, particularly with Fallskirmjäger units in Italy and Western Europe. The Browning automatic rifle M1918, the famous BAR, served as American infantry squad's primary automatic weapon. Weighing 8.8 kilograms and firing the powerful .30-06 Springfield cartridge, it provided suppressive fire capability at squad level. Despite being designed for World War I, it remained in frontline service throughout the Second World War with minimal modifications. The Browning automatic rifle M1918A2 introduced a bipod and adjustable cyclic rate. Soldiers could select between slow automatic at approximately 350 rounds per minute or fast automatic at 650 rounds per minute. This became the standard infantry variant, seeing extensive combat across all American theaters from North Africa to Okinawa. The AVS-36, the Soviet Avtomaticheskaya Vintovka Simonova, offered select fire capability in a full-power 7.62 by 54 mm chambering. Introduced in 1936, it proved overly complex and sensitive to fouling under combat conditions. The brutal Finnish and German campaigns exposed reliability problems, leading to its replacement by simpler semi-automatic designs. The Fusel-Mitrailleur Model 24/29, the French FM 2429, served as France's primary squad automatic weapon. Chambered in 7.5 by 54 mm French ammunition and feeding from distinctive top-mounted 25-round magazines, it remained in service throughout the brief 1940 campaign and with Free French forces thereafter. Continuing with semi-automatic rifles that represented the evolutionary path toward assault rifle development, we find far greater variety. The M1 Garand revolutionized infantry combat as the first semi-automatic rifle issued as standard infantry equipment. Chambered in .30-06 Springfield and feeding from an 8-round en bloc clip, it gave American soldiers a significant rate of fire advantage over bolt-action-equipped opponents. Over 5.4 million were manufactured, serving in every American theater of operations. The M1 carbine provided support troops and officers with a lightweight self-loading weapon. Weighing only 2.4 kilograms and chambered in the intermediate .30 carbine cartridge, it offered limited range but excellent handling. Over 6.1 million were produced, making it the most manufactured American small arm of the war. The M1A1 carbine variant featured a fall. Ding wire stock for airborne troops. Paratroopers jumping into Normandy, Market Garden, and the Rhine crossings carried this compact variant alongside their main equipment. The folding mechanism occasionally proved fragile under hard landings. The SVT-38, the Soviet Samizariadnya Vintovka Tokareva, introduced semi-automatic fire to Red Army infantry in 1938. Chambered in 7.62 by 54 mm rimmed ammunition, it proved somewhat fragile and maintenance-intensive under Eastern Front conditions. Early production suffered from quality control issues that affected reliability. The SVT-40 simplified the earlier design for improved manufacturing and reliability. Soviet Marines and elite infantry units received priority for these weapons, which German troops valued as war trophies. Approximately 1.6 million were manufactured before production shifted to simpler designs. The AVT-40 was a select-fire variant of the SVT-40 intended to replace squad automatic weapons. The powerful 7.62 by 54 mm cartridge proved difficult to control during automatic fire, and barrel overheating limited sustained use. Production remained limited, with most reverting to semi-automatic-only configuration. The Gewehr 41 from Mauser, designated G41M, was Germany's first semi-automatic service rifle attempt. The unusual muzzle trap gas system proved unreliable and maintenance-intensive. Only approximately 6,600 were manufactured before production ceased in favor of the Walther design. The Gewehr 41 from Walther, the G41W, used the same muzzle trap gas system with minor improvements. While slightly more reliable than the Mauser variant, it still suffered from the fundamental gas system limitations. Around 117,000 were produced, seeing service primarily on the Eastern Front. The Gewehr 43, also designated Karabiner 43, replaced both earlier designs with a proven conventional gas system. Heavily influenced by captured SVT-40 rifles, it fed from detachable 10-round magazines and proved far more reliable than predecessors. Approximately 400,000 were manufactured, often equipped with telescopic sights for designated marksman roles. The MAS-40 was France's indigenous semi-automatic rifle design produced in very limited quantities. German occupation halted production after approximately 1,000 were manufactured, with most seeing service during the brief 1940 campaign. Surviving examples later equipped Free French forces in North Africa. The Lumen AG-42 was Sweden's semi-automatic rifle featuring a direct gas impingement system. Though Sweden remained neutral, the design influenced post-war development, and limited numbers were exported. Its unusual operating system would later inspire the American AR-15 family. The Type 4 rifle was Japan's attempt to copy the M1 Garand after examining captured examples. Development began in 1944, but production never commenced before surrender. Only approximately 250 prototypes were manufactured, none seeing combat service. The RSC 1917 and 1918, French semi-automatic rifles from the First World War, remained in limited reserve service during 1940. These long-recoil operated rifles proved cumbersome and outdated against modern opposition. Surviving stocks were mostly relegated to rear area security duties. Let's turn to captured weapons pressed into service by occupying forces. German troops frequently retained captured SVT-40 rifles for personal use, appreciating their semi-automatic firepower. These became designated Selbstlager 259 in German service, receiving limited official ammunition supply despite lacking formal adoption. Japanese forces occasionally used captured M1 carbines during Pacific Island fighting. The lightweight weapon suited jungle warfare despite ammunition supply challenges. No formal designation was assigned, with use remaining opportunistic rather than systematic. From the revolutionary Sturmgewehr 44 that defined infantry combat's future to the various semi-automatic rifles that bridged bolt action and automatic weapons, World War II witnessed unprecedented small arms evolution. The assault rifle concept, born from desperate Eastern Front requirements for increased firepower, would reshape military doctrine for generations. Germany's pioneering development produced the only mass-manufactured assault rifles of the conflict, while other nations focused on semi-automatic solutions. These weapons collectively transformed the infantry squad from bolt-action riflemen into rapidly firing combat units. The lessons learned from these designs directly influenced the AK-47, M16, and every modern assault rifle that followed. This catalog demonstrates that revolutionary weapon development often emerges from wartime necessity, forever changing how infantry forces engage their enemies.